Libraries and storage. In this module, we are going to learn about libraries and storage. Where are the document stores? Libraries can store files in SQL Server and in file system. We recommend the use of file system, especially for libraries that contain a large number of documents. Storing many files in SQL Server would cause the access to be really slow. It would also make the maintenance and the conducting of security copies difficult. Aura Portal is totally integrated with SharePoint. Where are the documents stored? They can be stored in the Aura Portal SQL database, in File System, a traditional system for storing files and documents. Here we have three possible locations: local disk drive, shared network drive, and remote location, which allows using storage distributed over different geographical location and its connection through internet. Libraries are structured in tree and classes. As we mentioned before, instead of being tree and classes, here we will have tree and libraries. Firstly, we need to create a branch. Secondly, a library in the dictionary. And lastly, we must place it in the tree. If a library is not located in a branch, it won't appear in the document search, and therefore the user wouldn't have access. We need the library to be allocated in the tree so we can manage the document. We can create them from two different places. We can create them from structure, dictionary terms, or document, libraries, tree and libraries. When we create a library, whether from the dictionary of terms or the libraries, we have several configuration options. For example, if we use the library as a term, we can define the viewer, how I can see the contents of the library in a form. The grid configuration defines the library appearance, filters and columns. Storage location. From here, we indicate where to store the files documents. Storage is created in a structure, storage, and it is selected in the library settings, editing, to set editing method and automatic saving options, and labels. Create labels or metadata to store information of each file. We call them labels, SharePoint calls them columns. And lastly, digital signature. It allows us to sign documents. We can even define which type of signature we want to have. Let's go now to the application. So let's go to see how we can create a library. So as always, every time we want to create something, we go to structure. And as we said before, we could do it from here or there. We're just going to go here this time. So structure, documents, libraries. And then we can see all the different libraries that had already been created. If we go to edit tree, we can see here the classes as well. We have two different classes. So let's create a library in dictionary. We need to choose a class. We will choose general and a name. We're going to call it demo. Okay, data type library, yeah. And continue. And that's it. We have here several options. So we go into grid configuration now. We can see several display options. We are going to select elements when entering, which means we don't need to click on proceed since all the elements will be there when we open it. And auto arrange filters according to the widest one. This is to make the filters adjust to the widest one. If we wanted to add or remove some columns or filters, we will do it from here, but we're not going to do it now. So save and exit. And save and exit. If we go to documents now, we can see that even if we click on proceed, the library we just created is not here. This is because we haven't allocated it in the tree. So for that, we'll go back to structure, libraries, edit tree, expand, choose the class, those course libraries. As we can see, in SharePoint is selected, but I'm going to change the origin to in dictionary, find the library we just created and lodge it and save. If we expand now, the library is here. So if we go back to documents now, the library demo is here. Okay, if we go into the library, we can see, like we said before, like if we did this, we will delete a document. Yeah, if we wanted to add one, we could just go here and just basically choose the one we want to integrate, put it there. Yeah. Okay, so if we click on here, we can see several options. We have see document, which is basically to download the document. We have edit, sign, replace content, fingerprint, download complement, that as we said before, we just need to do that once and then we will need to do it again. Delete, see history, which is quite interesting since it tells us when we integrated the document, who did it, if anyone has modified it, etc. And then we have labels. If we want to add some labels, we will have to do this from a structure. So let's go back to structure, libraries, demo, and now we're going to go to labels. Here we have several options. We have language where we can change the name or of this or just add another name. Integration from form, available when the document is integration from the form. Automatic, so the label is autofill in a process with the value of a field that we have in the panel of that process. Edit from library, editable from general library grid, although the document has been integrated from a form. Mandatory from form, when the document has been integrated from a form. Integration from library, available when the document is integrated directly from the general library grid. And mandatory from library, mandatory when the document has been integrated directly from the general library. So let's change this one and I'm gonna call it category, save. I'm gonna select these two options and I want it to be a dictionary one. So now proceed and let's find category, save, and let's add a second label and let's call it date, save. Let's select the same options, but this time the data type will be a date. Save, save and exit, and save and exit. Now if I go to documents, demo, I can see that there are some filters that I want to add category and date here. So again, as always, we'll go to structure, libraries, demo, grid configuration, let's go into filters and columns, add, and I need to find the labels I just created. So category and date. Accept selection. If I want to add columns, I'll do it from the grid below. So add. I'm going to choose the same ones. Accept selection. Save. Save. Save and exit. And now let's go to Documents and Demo, and we can see here the filters we just added. As we have selected display elements when entering, we can see that all the documents are here without us having to click on Proceed. As we showed before, we can integrate a document. So, for example, this one, yeah. If I leave here, I have another option here that is queries of libraries in dictionary, where I can create several queries so I can see the library how I want. I could create several queries with different filters, columns, etc. to use in different libraries. I could also use this library as a term. Okay, they can be used as terms as well. So demo is a library, but it's also a term. So let's go to families of records. And for example, let's find the family we created before, continents. Remember, we created this family before. We left the default form and we just created an element that it was Europe, yeah, which is here. So let's imagine I want to add a library type of term to the form. Okay, so if we wanted to do that, for example, if I show you, if I wanted to add it here, we will have to go to structure, as always, family of records, the by family, which is continents, form, main record. We would select the division, go to add elements. We could go to all or just directly to library. So let's go directly to library. Proceed. We don't have any of them, so we go to add fields to the record. Proceed. And then we can find demo. Accept selection, and it will be here. Okay, so now we can move it along and put it in the record. Save, save, and exit. Okay, so now if I go to documents, demo, sorry, if I go to families of records, continents, I go to Europe. Okay, as we can see, we have here the term we just added. If we click on here, we can directly see. Okay, we can directly, as you can see, integrate a document. If we go here, we would see the whole library. Okay. Now let's imagine, that I want to add here a viewer. So again, we will have to go to structure, libraries, we find demo and viewer. We are going to select visible in execution, show elements when entering, and listing form new window. Okay, and I'm gonna add, let's save it as well, a column 2. It's gonna be category. So save and exit and exit. So if we return to families of records, to the continents family, go to Europe, we can see now that we have added the viewer. From here, we can access the content of the library that in this case we have configured so it opens in a new window. Okay, so we will see it here. Now that you have seen all this, it's your turn to try to do part 6.